All right, y'all. Today we're going to talk about LLC Formation 101. So this is going to be a very introductory course to what an LLC is, why it's used, and who can benefit from forming an LLC. So LLC, I know that can be a big term, but that stands for Limited Liability Company. So what does that mean? That's just one of several business structures that you can choose from. Some other examples are corporations, sole proprietorships, partnerships, limited partnerships, and the like. But today we're just going to talk about what an LLC is, and as I mentioned, what it's good for and who can benefit from it. So forming an LLC is one of the simplest ways of structuring your business. It provides the most bang for your buck. It's going to give you the most protection, and in relation to the costs and maintenance of setting one up, it's very low maintenance, very low cost to set up, and provides a lot of benefits. So LLC is usually the best option for a lot of small businesses. So this is kind of an illustration of what an LLC does for a business or business owners. So essentially, things go wrong all the time with various businesses, no matter the industry that you're in. And so what the LLC does is it kind of acts as a barrier between you and any potential creditors of your business. And so what it does is it protects your personal assets from those creditors. And so say that there is a judgment creditor or a business creditor that is able to attach, via some sort of lawsuit or any other type of circumstance where they would be entitled to money, they would be limited to your investment in the business, not to yourself or any of your assets as a whole. So this is designed to illustrate essentially how an LLC separates you personally from any creditor of your business. That is one of the main characteristics of an LLC, in contrast to sole proprietorships, partnerships, which do not provide those protections. So as I mentioned, just to kind of recap that little introduction, one of the main things is simplicity of setup and then personal asset protection. Unlike corporations, like I said, easy to form, maintain. You're not going to have to keep track of meeting minutes that you report to shareholders. There's no requirement for that, which there'll be a chart that I'll kind of go over here in the next couple of slides. So very minimal maintenance and paperwork that you have to keep track of. And one of the other main benefits that I'll also discuss later on is you're not subject to double taxation. So it also allows some flexibility in terms of how you tax yourself. So this is the chart that I was just referencing. And so these are all the features of an LLC, at least how it relates to the other options that I discussed earlier. So as I mentioned, business duration can be perpetual. That just means it's going to continue indefinitely so long as you file an annual report at the end of the year. And all that means is you're telling the state or the Secretary of State that your business is still active. It can be owned by another business. So an LLC can own another LLC, which is a pretty cool characteristic of this entity structure. As I mentioned, no required annual meetings. You don't have to keep track of meeting minutes or anything like that. The only thing you're going to be doing to set it up and to actually officially form it is file articles of organization, which is synonymous with your registration at the state level. So as I mentioned, in regard to taxing yourself as the owners, that's one of the main flexibility points that I'll discuss. So owners can report profits and losses on your personal income tax returns, which is not how it exactly works for corporations. A couple of these other options down here as well, I know you can read, but we will go over those here in the next couple of slides. Ownership, this is where it starts to get kind of cool. Members are that is synonymous with owner. So in LLC language, members is synonymous with owners. So LLCs may be member managed, meaning it's managed by the owners of the company, or the owners / members can appoint a manager or certain managers to operate the business day to day. In the second circumstance, managers are not going to have ownership. And so that's if the owners don't want to have any day-to-day responsibilities. That would be a circumstance when they would appoint a manager. An LLC with one owner is known as a single member LLC. On the other hand, with any LLC that has multiple members is called a multi-member LLC. And on the Secretary of State website, when you go to do a filing, there will be multiple places to indicate who all the members will be, or who all of the owners are. So what's the point? I know I went through all of that and kind of gave you an overview of what it is and how it works and how to set one up, but what's the point of forming one in the first place, aside from all of the benefits that I said it provides? So that's what we'll cover next. So this is, like I said, protection from lawsuits. This is the main benefit to you as an individual. Second here, like I said, minimal paperwork compared to corporations. Prevents you taxing yourself twice. Whoops. So now let me elaborate on that a little bit. So what do I mean by prevents taxing yourself twice? Let's say on the one hand, you own a corporation. So when revenue is generated and income comes into that corporation, it's going to be taxed on that income. Now, you as an owner of that corporation, you're going to be taking a salary also from the corporation. When you take that salary from the corporation, you are going to then pay income tax on those earnings. So in essence, you're taxing yourself twice. You're paying tax on the income to the corporation, and then you're paying tax on the income that you earn from the corporation. So that's the main benefit that's provided by LLCs, whereby any revenue or income that flows into the LLC is, depending on how you file your taxes, so long as you file your taxes correctly at the end of the year, you can pass that income through the LLC to yourself and tax only yourself once on that income that you derive from the LLC. So instead of paying tax twice, you only pay it once. So this is another benefit that I didn't mention earlier. And what do I mean by credibility? So credibility, when you're, depending on the industry that you're in, a lot of times people, whenever they're hiring you or they want to work with you, maybe you're a realtor, maybe you are, you're an accountant, you're in some other professional service. If you're providing some sort of service like that, a lot of times people want to see some sort of credibility or establishment of a business entity. Just kind of gives you a little bit more trust, or puts your potential clients' minds at ease that they're dealing with a professional, and that you've taken steps to protect yourself, especially when money gets involved. So I think, again, we deal with a lot of real estate investors, and I know that they look very favorably on working with LLCs or people that have set up companies for themselves, because it shows responsibility. It shows that they care about their finances and their financial future. And I think that then translates to them as a client, where, they see you. If for some reason they were to see you not doing that for yourself, well, it's kind of an indication that, well, if he doesn't really care about his own money, what makes me think that he's going to care about mine? So that's what I mean by credibility. So as I mentioned, if it's not abundantly clear already, LLC is probably the simplest, most straightforward, easy way to set up a business entity to protect yourself and your personal assets from lawsuits.